Hello everyone, my name is Oasis, and today we are going to continue our ClanGen series following our very dramatic CrescentClan. Because, let me tell you, year 2 just threw things at me that I didn't expect so early in the game. But before we begin, like last time, this series is inspired by Nyoko Art's Galaxy Clan series, so you should definitely go check them out. Also, last time I forgot to mention my rules, so let me go over them right now before we continue. Relationship-wise, we do allow cats to breed with cats that aren't their mates, and we also allow same-sex breeding, because why not? And we also allow cats to have kittens with unknown second parents for, drama reasons. And we don't allow romantic interactions with former mentors or first cousins for obvious reasons. General settings, we don't have max extinction on right now because the clan is still growing, and I don't have a limit for cats yet, but I think for now 2 pages is okay, but that could definitely change because I don't want the videos to be too long, and also I do not want to start crying because of the amounts of cats I will have to draw. Some other settings that I have on right now are subject to change is to allow leader to automatically choose new deputy, and cats won't retire due to permanent conditions. And I allow warriors and elders to choose if they want to be mediators. Okay, now with the rules out of the way, let's get into year 2 of CrescentClan. Alright, we are starting with our Star Clan cats. Unlike last time, I recorded with a different program this time, so we actually get to see our Star Clan cats. So first, and unfortunately, we lost Chive Rock this year at 20 moons while on a patrol with Flare Bracken and Fickle Chaser. She had picked up a scent of a Toad Clan patrol, and when the patrol went to investigate, it unfortunately ran into a dog, and the Toad Clan patrol kind of ran away, leaving them to deal with it. Flare Bracken and Fickle Chaser tried to warn Chive Rock, but it was too late, and the dog had gotten a hold of Chive Rock, unfortunately, and we had lost one of our founding apprentices, and it made me really sad because I really wanted her to stick around longer, but again, ClanGen just likes to make me sad, unfortunately. And this is unfortunately the second cat, or another cat, not even her second cat, that Flare Bracken cared about, and she lost within this 2 years of this game. So, yeah, she could never catch a break. But let's go ahead and get into our next cat. Alright, next we have Hazel Kit, or Paw, because he died at 6 moons right before becoming an apprentice, and Pale Star had given him his Paw name just for respect to his mother. Hazelpaw died to kitten cough, unfortunately, and he was always a weak, sickly kit. But I honestly thought he would make it. He has 2 siblings that we will get into later, and his mother, who joined the clan, who is also a very interesting case that we will get into later. He was a troublemaker and a lover of stories, but that's kind of about it. There's not really much to him. He died very young and was always in the medicine cat den, but yeah, that's all the cats we lost this year. Not many, but both cats that I really did love and wanted to see more of. But let's go ahead and get into the cats that are currently alive in the clan. Okay, starting off, we have Pale Star, who is currently 79 moons old and still has all his lives. This year has been kind of rough with the relationship of Toad Clan, especially after losing Chive Rock, because the Toad Clan patrol, like I said, brought the dog into Crescent Clan territory and basically left it to them. Not only that, but he's also been thinking about replacing Flare Bracken as deputy, because she's just kind of been on a downward spiral, which is kind of sad to watch, but we'll explain about her next. She's gonna be next on this list. But with the looming threat of the other clans, and now his deputy making rash and uncalled for decisions, he has a lot on his plate, and I really wonder how he will deal with all this new pressure I don't think this is what he expected when he started like running this clan. I think he wanted it to not be super, dramatic like it is right now. But we just have to see how it goes. I hope things are good with him. I know he'll hopefully make good decisions, and yeah, we'll just see how that goes. But let's go ahead and get into our deputy. Oh, where do I even begin? So next is our so complicated deputy Flare Bracken, who is now 95 moons old and has done quite a lot this year. First, after she finished grieving over her mate, her former apprentice, Chiverock, died to a dog, putting her in another period of grieving, so she's still currently grieving. Then she tried to save two kids that had gone too far from their territory, but Toad Clan had seen it as her trying to steal their kits and made the relationship worse with Toad Clan, which has not been good, if I'm being completely honest. And to make things worse, her son had seen her take food from a two-leg at night on moon 19. Then, on moon 22, she was seen touching noses with a loner by Pale Star, which caused the relationship between them start to sour. She's been sneaking out a lot, and her children are just starting to worry about their mother. She's just been breaking the code a lot, and I just have a feeling she might leave the clan, especially if Pale Star makes the decision to demote her. But yeah, that's her Flare Bracken. I feel she just needs a hug after everything. Like, she's just been through too much at this point. I did a little drawing of Flare Bracken with her children. It's gonna pop up on the screen right now as she's, you know. But yeah, let's go ahead and go to our medicine cats now. Okay, now let's get into Spider Scratch, who is currently 44 moons old. He's been fine this year. He's more worried about Gardenia's spec, as she's kind of been more distant recently, and he's noticed that she doesn't hang around Fickle Chaser anymore. Pale Star has sought comfort with him recently with the threat of a war, and not knowing how to approach the situation with Flare Bracken. Spider Scratch just kind of become Pale Star's therapist at this point. He's just overwhelmed by the amount of problems the clan is having currently, and he's not taking kindly to one of our new cats, as you'll see why later, but can't go to anyone about it since he doesn't have any proof, just only speculation, and doesn't want to stir more problems in the clan. Other than that, he just wants his daughter to be okay. She hasn't gone out in general recently and has only been going out on patrols with one different cat that he's not really familiar with. That he's just joined the clan, so he's not really like close with them. But their relationship is a bit rocky, and he doesn't want to make things worse for her or for the clan in general by starting drama. But yeah, that's kind of it. That's all I got for Spider Scratch. Let's go ahead and head into our next cat, which is Gardenia Spec. Alright, now starting with Gardenia Spec, who is now currently 26 moons old, which we've had her since she was about 2 moons old, and I just love watching her grow into the clan. She's like one of the founder cats. But getting into it, she has been kind of down lately. It seems with her relationship with her father and Fickle Chaser are very shaky at the moment. She's always on her own, and if she goes out on her patrols, it's with one of our new cats, Primfleck, which we will introduce later. And they get along pretty well. She's opened up to him about things and learned that she had feelings for Fickle Chaser until recently. She blames it slightly on the fact that she's a medicine cat and not a warrior like him, and that her father is just constantly in her space and overbearing, but she's happy to have someone to talk to about things with like no judgment, and I think she'll just be okay. She's just going through her first heartbreak, but now with our medicine cats out of the way, let's get to our one and only mediator. Okay, next up we have Sleekgrass, who is currently 140 moons old, and is our only mediator at the moment. Okay, so not too much is going on with Sweetgrass this year, but with war being a potential threat, she's been going to other clans just to talk, which, to be honest, I don't know if that's breaking the code, but I'll allow mediators to travel to other clans to talk things out. But anyway, she's been doing her own things to try to help. She went to Wheat Clan to speak to another cat. It didn't really tell me who, of course, but I just wanted to assume that it was either the leader or even a deputy, heck, even maybe the medicine cat. Because the relationship with Wheat Clan has slightly improved and it's not as hostile as before. She tried to go into Toad Clan, but it seemed they had no interest in talking things out at all. But she's also been keeping a close eye on another cat in the clan, which we will get into next. But yeah, other than that, not much has happened to her. Anything personal wise, nothing has happened. But yeah, with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into our warriors. Okay, we are finally getting into one of our new cats. This is Pound Shimmer. She is currently 122 moons old. She is also calm, but she has an unshakable dark forest link. Yeah, so that was a fun discovery. She joined the clan on Moon 13 with a litter of kits, and she came from another clan, but I'll leave that kind of anonymous for now since the other clans don't seem to want anything to do with the dark forest. So I'll leave it up in the air right now until something changes within year 3, and then I will update it. So yeah, this is our first cat with a connection to the Dark Forest, especially in Unshakable Link. I have not seen her act suspicious yet, and I was shocked when she joined because she was about 9 years old and had a litter of 3 kids. Like 9 years old in human years, and that are biologically hers. Like, they're not adopted or anything. We talked about one of her kids who passed, Hazelpaw, but her other 2 kids are alive and well, which we will get into later. She is actually our oldest warrior at the moment, and is very aware of that fact. She kind of looks down at the other warriors and how this clan has such young warriors and doesn't seem to be very powerful, especially with a young leader. But she tries to get on the good side of Pale Star since he did allow her to bring her kits into his clan. She senses that Spider Scratch and Sleepgrass know her secret, but she's aware that they won't worry their leader with more problems. So yeah, that's all I have for her. She's pretty interesting. I wonder if she does have bad intentions, but she hasn't done anything in the sense of currently hurting anyone in the clan. But let's go ahead and get into our next warrior. Okay, I can finally talk about Fickle Chaser, which he has had a busy year, I guess. He is currently 35 moons old, and newsflash, he is now a father. Yes, you heard me right. He is a father, which is the reason Gardenia Spec and him don't talk anymore. And the clan is wondering who the mother is. Yes, these kits are also half-clan cats, and Fickle Chaser will not say who it is. So it's a fun mystery for everyone. It does say the kits came from another clan, so I could say it wasn't a loner or a kitty pet, or maybe they became one. I don't know. This kind of threw a wrench in everything. They joined the clan on Moon 16. Yes, he had 2 kits. I'm sorry. This is a lot. This killed my hopes for a relationship that I was hoping to happen between Gardenia Spec and Fickle Chaser, and it makes me very, very sad. But yeah, now he's alone and kind of upset that his kids are now in the clan. He cares for them, but now his friendships and his reputation in the clan has kind of been lowered, and it's because of everything else going on, and not knowing what happened to their mother worries the clan that wherever they came from might cause more problems. Because, they're already on the brink of a war. But that's it for him. He's now a dad and is not taking the consequences of his actions well. I'm really hoping for a better year for him, but I do really wonder who the other parent is. But let's go ahead and get into our next warrior. Okay, so we have another new face in the clan, and this is Primfleck. We talked about him with Gardenia spec, but let's now get into him. He is currently 20 moons old and is childish and an incredible runner. He joined the clan on Moon 17 and was a barn cat who wanted to see if clan life was as intense as the other barn cats claimed it to be. But he is a bit of a charmer. He doesn't understand clan code that much, or why the clans fight when two legs in the town would take any of these cats in. But after hanging out with Gardenia Spec, he learned more about the code and actually looks up to the medicine cats more than the leader. They know how to heal with just herbs, and he kind of finds that amazing. He doesn't have any intentions to go back home, but he is happy spending time with the medicine cats and will help out often, which would kind of get him in trouble for not doing his warrior duties, but Gardenia Spec lets it slide. But that's kind of all for Primfleck. He's just a sweet guy and laid back, and I think he will help Gardenia Spec understand her importance. It just seems to be a really good friend for her right now. She kind of needs someone to ground her, and he's kind of the one to do that. But let's go ahead and get into another one of our new cats. Okay, and this is Sprout Stripe. He is currently 18 moons old. He is also compassionate and a good kit sitter. So he joined the clan on Moon 15 and ran away from Bramble Clan when he was an apprentice. He begged and pleaded to join the clan, but he wouldn't really explain why. But Palestar saw his fear and allowed him to stay. This did worsen our relationship with Bramble Clan, but it's not enough to worry about a war unlike the others. He was mentored by Flare Bracken for the rest of his apprenticeship, but he knew she didn't want to mentor anyone else currently, so he was mostly to himself. But he did earn his warrior name at 11 moons. He's currently the youngest one to become a warrior. He stays to himself most of the time, but he is sometimes homesick, but he knows he can never go back home. And it makes him sad sometimes. But that's kind of all it for Sprout Stripe. He didn't do much this year of note other than joining the clan. But it's always nice to have a new cat in the clan. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into our last two warriors. Okay, so we are now finally getting into Flare Bracken and Fringestone's kits. And first we have Mountain Tail. He is currently 16 moons old and he is sneaky and a lore master. And he is really going through it right now. It seems like a lot of our cats are going through it right now. He really wants to prove to his mom that he could be a good warrior. And all throughout his apprenticeship, he tried to show her how much of a better fighter he was becoming, but she was just so overwhelmed with grief that she was more worried about him getting hurt, sometimes snapping at him when he would playfully fight with his sister. Now, with his mom breaking the code, he's tried talking to her, but she won't even look at him in the eyes. His eyes remind her too much of their late father. He gets along with his sister and will sit with the other cats and hear stories about their parents, and he wishes he could have met the mother in the stories he heard. This family is so full of drama and it makes me so sad. I just want them to be happy, but this game just doesn't want it to happen. But unfortunately, that's all I got for Mountain Tail. We can go ahead and get into his sister next. Now we are getting into our last and very pretty warrior. This is Sneestripe, who is currently 16 moons old. She is ambitious and is as fast as the wind. She is in the same boat as her brother currently, but she tries not to let it affect her as much. She actually will bicker with her mom about her recent actions and won't hold back anything. She stands up to her mother more than her brother will, and will be his voice when he shuts down. She really tries hard to understand why her mom acts this way, but believe it isn't fair to them. She hears the stories of her mom and how happy she was, but gets so angry that they don't get that mom. She tries really hard to be a good warrior and wants to be a good example to the clan, and has gone pretty close to Palestar. Deep down, she wants to be a deputy or even a leader one day, but she knows she's too young and inexperienced. But yeah, that's currently all our warriors. We had a couple new cats join, but let's go ahead and get into our apprentices. I am so excited to get into them. So let's go ahead and get into our first apprentice. Okay, so first up in our apprentices, we have Brookpaw. And this is actually one of the sons of Pounce Shimmer. He is 11 moons old, gloomy, and get this, he is also interested in the Dark Forest. The apple does not fall far from the tree, I guess. But I'm assuming this clan his mom came from just has a really strong connection to the Dark Forest, that even the kits are in it. He is currently being mentored by his mother, which makes him not really respect the older cats, but he also looks down to his brother, who we'll talk about next. And he's been currently training in the Dark Forest with his mom, making him improve a lot faster than the other apprentices, and he is very strong. But nothing of note has happened too much. I do worry that with the, maybe being invested in the Dark Forest, it might fester into him as he's older, but we'll worry about that when we get there. But let's go ahead and get into our next cat. Next up is Smoky Paw. He is also the other son of Pounce Shimmer. He is currently 11 moons old, loving, and is also interested in the Dark Forest, but I will say these boys are very different. He is being mentored by Palestar, and he honestly looks up to him like a father figure, but knows he can't tell him the truth of being associated with the Dark Forest. He avoids the Dark Forest unless forced to by his mom to train. I honestly don't think his link is strong, and I'm hoping being trained by Palestar might change his ways. He's a kind soul and is close with Palestar and the other apprentices, but his brother doesn't talk to him much, and his mom is disappointed that he won't train with her and his brother. And it makes me sad because, he's just a sweet little boy and he doesn't want to be associated with the Dark Forest. I'm assuming. It seems like he's very different. But not much can be said. There wasn't anything too interesting other than the Dark Forest ties, and he hasn't really been training. But now with Pounce Shimmer's kits out of the way, let's get into our next apprentice, who is another new cat of our clan. Alright, another new face we have in the clan is Flippaw, who is currently 11 moons old and joined the clan at 9 moons old. He is bold, constantly climbing, and an avid play fighter. Flippaw wasn't happy in his old clan and wanted a new start, so he left his home in Wheat Clan and made his way to CrescentClan. He won't talk about why he left, but he's happy where he is right now and enjoys the other apprentices and his mentor, Freckle Chaser. Flippaw is a very talkative and loves hanging out with anyone who will sit there and listen to him, and will treat him like his own family. I really like this cat. He just is kind of chill and just wants a family, and after running away, this is his new home. He is one of the lights in my very dramatic clan, and I want him to stick around, please, ClanGen. But that's kind of all I have for him. Next up is our last two apprentices, which I am so happy to introduce. So let's go ahead and get into them. Okay, so now I finally get to talk about these cuties. We are now getting into Fickle Chaser's kits. And first up, this is Rowan Paw. He is currently 8 moons old, strict, and interested in clan history, which I find pretty interesting since he is from another clan. He is very aware that his sister and him are not welcomed by their father, unfortunately, and I have an idea for that. Their mother probably had a mate, and then she met Fickle Chaser, not expecting to fall for him, but after having her kids, she was worried that her mate would eventually catch on that they are not his. So she grabbed the kits and dropped them off by the CrescentClan camp, pushing him through a bush where she spotted Fickle Chaser. They made eye contact, but she then ran away, leaving the kits to their father, and that's what I believe happened. It's short, but I did have to fill in the blanks. There wasn't a lot of information. He is currently being trained by Sleekgrass, who kind of treats him like family. She doesn't blame the kids for their father's actions and wants him and his sister to know that they're loved and welcomed. She's like a grandmother to them, but he stays out of his father's way. And that's all I have for Rowan Paw. I did info dump about his mom, but he hasn't been an apprentice long, and not anything interesting happened in his kithood. But we can go ahead and get into his sister. Okay, now next up is Fickle Chaser's daughter, Flower Paw. She is also currently 8 moons old. She is thoughtful, oddly observant, and a lover of stories. She is currently being mentored by Flarebracken, but is mostly training with Sleetgrass and her brother. She is more naive than her brother and doesn't think she isn't welcome and believes her dad is happy to have them there. She likes to hang out with the older cats, except Pounchimmer, of course. She sees Sleetgrass and Gale Dapple as her adopted grandparents. She's a really happy kid, and a lot of cats see her as a ray of sunshine and a much needed warmth in this current dark time. She likes to eat with Gale Dapple, and he tells her stories of the clan. Sometimes she falls asleep in the Elder's Den while he rambles on about clan history. I love this girl. I need this game to not do anything to this baby. She is so pure, and I will be very sad. But that is all our current apprentices, and let's go ahead and we can get into our last cat, which is our only elder. Okay, we finally did it. We have hit our last cat. This is Gale Dapple. He is now 142 moons old, and he's been fathering Flower Paw and Rowan Paw with Sleekgrass. I like to think he is the grandpa of the clan's younger cats, and he enjoys his retirement and just loves hanging around all of the young apprentices. He just loves watching his clan grow and all the new faces joining. He has recently given advice to Palestar about what to do with the threat of war and kind of comforts him knowing he's doing his best as a leader. He talks to Sleetgrass about how happy he is that so many young faces are getting to experience a clan not under the rule of the late leader. He's content with how the clan is, and he wants to see his home grow and thrive. Unfortunately, nothing too interesting happened other than the wholesomeness of him, adopting and raising Fickle Chaser's children, but honestly, I think it is a good way. Okay, and that is our current lineup for year 2. I am so sorry this video took so long to make. I had really bad art block for a minute, and this was my first time scripting a video, and this script has over like 3K words, which is more than I have ever written, like ever. I also had to learn how to use a new editing program, so I'm hoping next video will not take as long now that I kind of have a basic understanding of it. But thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a lovely day, night, or evening. Bye bye!